Sweet. Okay, guys, we're gonna start our Facebook Live. This is Venmo John.
You're not in it.
It's fine. It's fine. You don't need me. This is really just about John.
We're friends.
We're friends. We're gonna get cozy. Hey, hello. So we have a studio audience with us too. Let's see if we can do this. It's gonna be back. Oh, look, it's somebody. Hi, guys. Around. Okay, so we'll keep this short and sweet because we have so many questions to get through. Just a little background. This is John Graham. He lives in San Francisco. He was on the most recent season of The Bachelorette with Becca, and then he went on to Bachelor in Paradise. And I believe on Bachelor in Paradise you left with Olivia, right? And then there was a little drama because you ended up dating Chelsea. Let's just start with that. Let's just start with the drama. What happened there?
Yeah, sure. So Olivia came in towards the very end, and we had a chance to hang out. We went on a date, and it was super fun. But she lives in Chicago, and I live in San Francisco. So I actually visited her in Chicago and for a weekend, and it was super fun. But I'm busy at work, and I realized that I think we're better as friends. And so I told her, I was like, hey, I've never done long distance before. I didn't really get a chance to know you that well on the show. I think we're better as friends. And so we decided to be friends. I don't know why she's like, that Chelsea thing came up because I've never hung out with Chelsea outside the show. So I don't know why she's like mad at me about Chelsea because we're friends. I FaceTime all of my friends.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. I will say this. It is kind of weird that you were posting screenshots of you and Chelsea FaceTiming because I don't know. I don't FaceTime my guy friends.
Oh, really?
No. Does anybody else FaceTime?
I don't FaceTime anyone.
Platonic friends? Yeah, right?
I think a big thing for me, after the show, I FaceTimed all of I would FaceTime Kevin, I FaceTime Bibby.
Oh, you're one of those
Angela.
people who just FaceTimes everyone. You're the FaceTime bandit.
I thought that was like a normal thing people do. And one of the things that Chelsea and I bonded over was telling stupid jokes. So the scene had just aired of me telling all these dad jokes with Chelsea, and I was like, oh, more dad jokes. This is not just something we did for the show.
Yeah.
We're friends and we tell jokes.
Do you have a dad joke for us today?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, give us one.
This is a new recent development. This one I heard it recently from my brother.
It's a new one. Okay.
So what do you call a Spanish guy with a toe made of rubber?
A Spanish guy with a toe made of rubber. What?
Roberto.
Oh, you got it. I know. I love the Australian got that joke. Yeah, that's a dad joke and a half for sure. So you and Chelsea never did anything physical.
No.
It's just all. What about
I've never seen her outside the show.
What about a little sexy FaceTime?
No.
No, like a striptease? None of that?
No,
dad jokes is sexy, but
I don't know how this blew up as a thing because we're friends and I don't know why that's a thing.
Do you have a lot of platonic female friends?
Yeah, totally.
And they're all still platonic?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Julie and I always have this conversation.
I think it's from the show too, where you go through this crazy experience together and then the only people you can really talk about it with and they get you are the other people from the show. And so the people that I became really good friends with were Angela, Kevin, Chelsea, and a few other people from the show. Eric was one of them. Chris was one of them. And so I talk with them pretty regularly, on a very frequent basis. And so I thought it was very normal to FaceTime with them. And I FaceTime with all of them. I didn't think it was a big deal. I don't know why people blew it up.
FaceTime makes sense because you guys are distance and you're used to seeing each other every day. So
That's
I could
true.
see why you would do FaceTime.
And someone texted me are you dating Chelsea? I'm no, we're friends. I don't know why it came up. So I thought it was just kind of funny.
I barely FaceTime anybody I like like romantically. I just can't imagine FaceTiming.
I'm like a FaceTime
Yeah, I think
power
there's
user.
FaceTimers and then there's not.
Yeah, I
'Cause
guess I'm in the
with
other
you, yeah.
camp. Julie, I'm gonna start FaceTiming you
I'm
from
gonna
now
hang
on.
up on you. Just kidding.
Like, go away. So we have so many questions from some of our listeners. I'll start there. Is the Bachelor family real? Once you get off the show, do you actually stay close friends with some of the cast members? And it sounds like that is
Absolutely. The tough part for me is that I'm in San Francisco, and not many of the Bachelor family that I know are in San Francisco.
Except for Annalise.
Annalise
She's
is here. I haven't had a chance to hang out with her that much in SF. I know
Okay.
she's been traveling for a bunch. I know she had some family issues that she had to deal with, and so like we're definitely still friends and plan on hanging out a bunch though.
Do you guys FaceTime?
I wasn't as tight with Annalise, but
No.
I've only FaceTimed her probably like a handful of times since the show.
Okay, all right. What about, do you have any regrets from Paradise?
A big thing that I told myself going in was I want to make sure I leave with no regrets. So I wanted to be honest with everybody about how I felt about them, about my expectations about what I would want after the show, or what I would want from a relationship with them. And I was pretty forthcoming about how I felt about people on the show. And so I didn't leave with regrets, because everything that I had the power to control about what I wanted, I feel like I said. And so like I didn't leave with regrets for that reason.
That's good words of wisdom for everyday life, not just the TV show.
For people who want to get on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, what are some tips you would have for them in the audition process?
Yeah, I've had a number of guys like reach out to me. Like,
I'm sure.
they're like, "Oh, my friends keep saying I should really be on the show. Like, do you think I should go on?" And I was like, "Yeah, if you want to, like, you should definitely apply." Probably the best tip I could give, like, they definitely like want to see as much of a personality as they can from you. Not like being crazy personality, but like see your personality. And so however you can portray that, like an easy thing for them to check is like your Instagram. Are they gonna like look at your pictures and look at your comments? Like probably I would if I were in their casting shoes. So like have a profile that probably shows multiple like styles of your personality. They definitely want you to be like attractive. So if you can have some photos of you doing something more like active or like probably shirtless or like in swimsuits, do it.
John has many of those.
I thought ahead on some of those pictures. And so, and then like I wrote an essay, which is part of the application process. I
So it's
physically
like
printed photos.
college
like,
admissions.
yeah, I like had a USB drive that I put a video on and I mailed it. Which I was like, how do you even
wow.
mail something these days? So there's like a FedEx right next to my office, luckily.
And then you had to take the SATs.
And then I took the SATs. They had this really, really long, like 100 questions and multiple choice. I'm like,
And yet some people still get through that process. It
Yeah,
boggles
you
my
gotta-
mind
gotta
how
be
that
extra
even
committed.
happens. Is there someone, if you... Oh, here we
oh,
go.
we're back, baby.
We are back. If you could pick anybody from Bachelor Nation to meet, a man or a woman, but like someone you haven't met yet, but it's like you're someone on your wish list, who would that person be?
Good question. I'm not like up to date with like the former seasons. So I don't really know those people, or even like know their names. People really like this guy Ben Higgins.
Oh, I
And
do
so-
too.
Here you go.
I've never met him, but
Still single.
No.
And so he like I've listened to a couple episodes of his podcast that he does, and sometimes he just recaps the episodes. But I like that he is very honest about his opinions, and he's opinionated, and he has them. So sometimes like people, they're like too much of a people pleaser, and I can say that because I've been in those shoes for many years, and he doesn't try to tiptoe around how he feels. He knows that he might piss people off with what he says, but he just does it anyway.
Yeah.
And he's very honest about it, and he explains his thoughts clearly, and I appreciate when people do that. So maybe Ben.
and he went through a very public breakup too. And when he went on Winter Games, he was very very honest about the fact that he wasn't over the breakup and he left the show because of it. So I really admire him for that. That he's like, I'm not ready yet.
I actually didn't even know that about Ben.
Oh, no, you don't. Ask me. I know everything.
He's the hardcore fan.
I am a hardcore fan. One last question before we turn it over to our studio audience. Is there an age limit to be on The Bachelor?
Oh, that's a good one.
For men and women.
I mean, how old was Ari when he was The Bachelor? He's like 36, maybe?
Oh, man, so
37?
damn old.
Yeah. I'm 29, and I was probably right in the... Well, I was 28 at the time, but I'm 29 now, and I was probably right in the middle of what people, at least for the guys' ages. Maybe the women are like maybe a year or two average younger. But actually, no, I don't know. I felt like probably the average age for folks, at least on Paradise, was like 26 to... I think
32-ish.
32-ish. I forget how old Annalise is.
She was like considered the older one.
I think
she's like 34.
Yeah, I know Kevin's. Oh, Kevin's 34.
Kevin's
I think Kevin's 34, and then
Kenny is.
Kennan's a
Oh,
little bit older
Kenny,
too.
yeah.
That's right.
But I've never seen a woman on the show who was older than 35.
That's not surprising.
Not surprising, yeah. They're like, your eggs are dead. You cannot be on the show. Just kidding. Sorry, I'm just talking about myself. All right, should we turn it over
We can bring
to?
someone up here. I can give them the hot seat. If
Oh
you
yeah,
want.
anybody? Shannon.
Come on in. Shannon, come on down.
Never done this before.
Hi. My question is somewhere along the line of if there's anyone, any bachelorette or any person in the Bachelor Nation would you want to date?
Any bachelorette person I'd want
Yeah.
to date. Again, I don't know the former seasons that well. I can tell you, like, based on pictures, who I think is attractive.
Yeah. Tell us that. Who's that?
Okay, I thought Vanessa Grimaldi.
Oh yeah.
She
Who's
was-
now
She
single?
was pretty. She is pretty. I think Christina Schulman was also beautiful.
Which one's that?
She was the one.
She was in that love triangle with Dean on Paradise.
Oh yes. When D'Lo?
Yes.
Yeah.
Danielle.
D'Lo came into that.
Triangle.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a different Danielle. I think she was on Paradise. These are because I did my homework for Paradise and I watched all of last season's Paradise and I binge watched in preparation. And so that's why most of the people I think. But there was Danielle. I forget her last name.
The tall blonde.
Yeah.
that
She
left-
has like shorter blonde hair.
And she kissed Wells when she left.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
she kissed
Okay.
Wells on her way out.
She's on the older side too, so yeah, good choice.
I thought she was super beautiful. I mean, but those are based on just like pictures I've seen like on Instagram or just like you really get such small snippets of someone's personality on the show. So I'd want to like actually know them in person.
I hope they're listening to this as well.
Yeah.
I hope so too. We're gonna at them.
Yeah.
Do you have another question, Shannon?
Okay, I have one other question.
Yeah.
I'll ask one that Jen has. How old would you date?
How
What's the
old would
oldest?
I
Oh, what's
date?
your
Older
oldest?
limit. Yeah.
Be careful what you say.
Okay, so thinking like down the road a little bit. I know that I want to have kids someday, and I know that I want to spend time with my partner, just as like a couple. Like whether or not we're married yet, I want to be able to like do some cool traveling. I want to be able to explore and like hang out with families together for like a year or two maybe. And then by the time we have kids, like I still want her to be healthy, and I still want her to like make sure the kids are healthy too. So at whatever age that's the limit for, and it's probably different for women.
Right.
So like thinking ahead, like if I don't know, like what's the healthy age to have kids by? They say like 35 or
45.
something.
45. That's a new age, all right?
You gotta
Contrary-
comment on show. Your eggs are not dead, girl.
Thanks, Cheryl. Last time I checked, my eggs weren't dead either,
Yeah,
but I don't
so
know about today.
So whatever age that we can have a few years to like hang out and like as a couple before kids come, then
You didn't give an actual age yet.
I don't have an actual age.
Okay.
Like, just as long as by the time kids
very
come that they're still
diplomatic.
healthy.
Okay, let's go to the next
Wait,
question.
but what's the youngest you date?
The youngest I
Yeah.
date, mid-20s maybe. I'm
20,
29.
yeah, 25-ish.
So mid-20s I'd say.
That's a good age. Next question. Anybody? Aaron.
Come on up.
Yeah, come on.
Gotta come to this
Both
sweet
of you.
spot.
By the way, Christina's a
Your
halfie
legs are not
too.
dead, girl. What a comment.
John, Christina's a halfie too, so
Yeah.
you guys can
Oh,
have that.
Okay, so my question is, what do you think about the Jenna and Jordan scandal?
Okay,
Tell
so
us all the details.
yeah, so I found out about it the same way all of you guys did. Like I just like saw all this. Like I read the like reality Steve thing.
Yes.
And I sent Jordan a message like, hey man, like whatever's going on, like you've got friends. And so I actually haven't, I know that they're split up now, and
Yeah.
I've seen Jenna's posts about like the forensic studies and, you know, trying to look at the text messages real or not, and then some lawyers going after Jordan right now.
Yeah.
The weird thing to me is, why would you, if you were Jordan and Jenna together, Jordan, like that relationship ended very quickly, and unless there's something we don't know, I feel like part of me has to side with Jordan, because that like he must have sent something or saw that like was more real than people are letting on. Otherwise, if it were actually fake, Jenna would be like, it's fake. Like, what's the big deal? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry people are coming after me, but it's fake, and Jordan and I are fine. But the fact that it ended, and it ended so quickly, and now it feels like there's a little bit of he said, she said, I don't know. But just by the fact that it ended quickly makes me think that there's like some bit of truth in there. Like, I don't know the extent of it. Like, I honestly, because I know Jenna, I think she's a great person. And I like had so much fun hanging out with her and getting to know her too. I also know that Jordan's an awesome guy. But just as an outsider's perspective, which is the only part I have, that it just like ended too weird ended too quickly for it to be like, everything's all peachy.
Yeah.
But like from what I can see, like Jordan's now like having a great time. He's hanging out with his buddies out in Florida. I know Nick Spetsis is down there, and some of the other Bachelor Family people, so they have fun.
Aaron.
Yeah. Did that answer your question well enough? Like,
Yeah.
Because I
just wanted your thoughts.
actually don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like it feels weird that it ended so fast.
So we enjoyed watching you in Bachelor in Paradise, and
Thanks,
after
man.
Becca's season, there was a lot of couples getting paired off towards the end of that season.
All right, come on in.
Camera. We also just recently watched the Australian Bachelor finish this week,
So good.
and the decision at the end was the Bachelor Nick picked nobody. And so
Whoa.
my question is, do you think that's the reality of the reality TV, is that it's hard to find a match with a small selection of people on the show, and maybe that's really how most of them should turn out? And
We were like, maybe this is the most realistic Bachelor
Yeah.
there ever was.
So a few seasons ago, they had a guy named Jordan. He was the Bachelor in Australia or in New Zealand.
New Zealand,
Oh, the guy that was
So
on
they
Bachelor
had,
in Paradise.
yeah, we call him Kiwi Jordan.
Yeah.
this was the flip a
Yeah,
coin
so
guy.
he
Yeah,
flipped
yeah.
a coin, and
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
I mean he's pretty candid about it, but from the rumblings I heard about like Australian Bachelor and New Zealand Bachelor is like it's not as big of a show, and the casting they do isn't as good of a job. So the people that they pick are like not good catches.
Right.
And I haven't seen the show, so I don't know. But if it gets down the line and you're like, these aren't my people, like none of them are. Like I tried, and like if they're not your person, like they're not your person. And it sucks because the TV show wants someone to end up in love. Like I was saying when we were doing the podcast, which is like people come for the drama, but they stay for the love.
That's right.
If they do a bad job casting and they never get a relationship that's a success story, they can't like have this long-term like thing that they can keep talking about and build a story around, and like people really connect with that. They want a relationship to end out of it, and it's like a failure if they don't. So I would say that like maybe the casting was wrong, maybe the guy knew what he wanted and he just didn't see it there. But I feel bad for the guy. I feel like
Yeah.
he's like, I came on this to like meet my partner, and there's nobody here that's good for me.
Yeah, he seemed a little bit
Yeah.
lost at the end of the show. There was a front runner all the way through, and she made it to the final 3 and decided to leave because he couldn't express himself and say, like, you're the person for me. She wanted that reassurance.
So I honestly, I bet there's a part of him, because there's 2 other women and the third girl, he's like, it's like not right to be like, you're my person, but there's 2 people I'm still going on dates with and like kind of maybe hooking up with. And like that's like part of the show too, is like I'd feel weird if I were the Bachelor going around like, you're my person, but let me just like finish going on all these other dates and taking them to like fantasy suites and who knows what. So
Do you think you have to go all the way through with every, like, what if you know early on and you want to cut it and just pick a person? That's probably not allowed. That's never happened.
That's never happened. I bet they would want, for like continuity sakes, to like
keep
carry it through. But if you know, then like you could be very like platonic in like the fantasy suites. You could be platonic on all the other dates, but that's like not going to be good TV.
No.
Like you want there to be some like to be some controversy about like how are they going to make a decision. I think that's more exciting to watch. That's what I want to see.
On a side note, I think you would have liked watching The Australian Bachelor because the guy, Nick Cummins, he did a lot of dad jokes and a lot of...
Oh, really? I changed my answer. I don't want to meet Ben Higgins. I want to meet Nick Cummins.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. We have one more guest, but one more person with a question. But before that, we have one from the audience, Andy. So he is cute. What's his name? Do you want to just reintroduce for anyone coming
sure.
a little late?
I can say that.
Yeah.
I'm John. I was on The Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise, and we just came to do Dateable podcast.
Woo!
Thanks.
Wait, I want to know on Bachelor in Paradise, Yuki, who was on Winter Games, who was like a bartender, does she actually speak English?
No.
Really?
No,
She
Yuki
really doesn't? I
Yuki
swear
speaks
she's
very little English.
I swear she's faking it. Okay.
No.
All right.
Okay.
Half the time we were just talking, she'd be like, "Kampai," which is just cheers and Japanese, or Yuki. And she didn't have, she was super funny, but
She's so cute.
I think it'd be hard to have like a real deep heart-to-heart with her because she didn't have much English. She's learning though.
That's good. Next question.
Okay. Where do I start?
Oh, she's got a
Oh,
list.
nice. That's good.
So it seemed like when Jubilee left, it was kind of like a quick departure, and they didn't really cover like what happened between the 2 of you.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what actually? Like,
Yeah. So Jubilee and I had an awesome date. We went on this cool like zip lining thing. We had a full day together. We had an awesome time, and then we came back and like we hung out some more. And I just like I felt like there were some red flags where I'm not like the very much the jealous type. And I felt like there's a little bit where I was like, I'm just like hanging with my friends, like, and I wasn't able to like really express myself and do that and be like fully myself on the beach. And so I told her that, and they didn't air it, but I told her that, and I was like, yeah, I feel like we're better as friends as a result. And like I had known her at that point for like 2 or 3 days, and that was the week where women were giving out the roses too. And I told Jubilee that too, and I was like, yeah, like I think we're better as friends. There's lots of other guys on the beach though. Like use this as an opportunity. I get that I'm be putting myself in jeopardy, but like use this as an opportunity to go talk to whomever and like establishing a connection because you're safe. And then she just got up and left.
Oh.
So
Wow.
Okay.
yeah, and like I've no hard feelings for her. Like I wish her the best. But it like ended very quickly. Like, I didn't expect that either. I thought she wanted to like. She came for the same reason that we all did, which was to meet people, and I don't think she did as good of a job of trying to put herself out there and meet people.
I feel like Paradise is just basically modern dating, except documented on TV and it's full transparency.
Yeah.
Because what's really happening is exactly what people are doing in real life. You're just dating other people, and you're just telling her, hey, go explore some of the other people who you may have a stronger connection with. But to her, she's like, you're mine and I'm yours. And this is we're exclusive, right?
Cameras follow you around.
Yeah, we're exclusive,
But what's
right?
nice though is that on the show you never have a phone, so there's no distractions, there's no internet, there's no like work email. Ooh, Blue Angel's coming by.
Woo!
But there's no distractions from like the real world, so you can like get hyper focused on the relationship. And it's a blessing and a curse. The blessing is that you can really get to know someone quickly. The curse is that that's not how the real world works. Like you have jobs, you have phones, you have work to do that isn't just like get to know the other person.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to use Venmo to pay for dates.
Sometimes you gotta use Venmo to pay for the day. Honestly, the big thing is I always like to be chivalrous, and like I know I'm gonna be the one paying for the date. Like I like want to be the gentleman, and I want to like care for like the person I'm with. But I want them to like play that dance where they're like, like let me
you
split.
like the reach.
Let me like let me just see. But yeah, like just to demonstrate like, hey, we're in equal field, and I'll be like, yeah, I got it, don't worry. And then, but if someone's just like sitting there like assuming like, oh, John's gonna like pay, I'll be like, well, get the hell out of here.
Oh wow! And then you send them a Venmo request.
Charge them 50 cents.
We have one more question.
Go.
It's kind of related. Why do you think they don't cast more people with professional jobs? I mean, obviously it might be disruptive to their life, but it seems like a lot of cast.
I have two thoughts on that.
Yeah.
One is I was talking to the casting agents and producers. They don't get as many applicants that are Asian. They don't get as many applicants that have like very rigorous full-time jobs because it's hard for them to get the time off. Like fortunately for me, I was working at Venmo for 5 years, and my new startup that I work at, Finn, it was one of the founders. He left Venmo and started this new company, Finn, and so I just kept working for him. So I've been working with this guy for like 9 years or something, or I don't, for however long it is. And he was very understanding and supportive of me. He's like, yeah, just make sure you come back and like don't fully leave forever. And so I took a leave of absence. And so that's like, for me, I was in like a pretty unique situation. It's probably hard if you're like working at like a new job and you're going to go take off 2 months.
That's true. That's true. Who was it that was working at Facebook? Do you remember the Bachelorette? Allie, right? Allie took off. She was like one of the first at Facebook, and then she left to do the Bachelorette later.
Yeah.
Is that
That's
really?
We have two questions from the audience.
Okay.
Should we do those?
Let's do it. Let's do
Fire
it.
it up.
Last two questions.
Okay, this comes from Flo. How do you feel about all the reality TV shows after it's all said and done?
I have more respect for people that have been on reality shows. I think a lot of people could be like, oh, like Snooki's a total whatever, or like random reality TV people that you see in the media, and you can have like the fastest opinions about them, like, oh, they're an asshole, or they're a total player, or they're like a saint. It's like, that's probably just what you saw on a few clips on TV, but that's not how they are in person. So I have a lot of respect for people that ever go on shows. Two is I have a lot of respect for the people that work on them, because it's an incredibly exhausting job. At least on The Bachelor, like the producers, they're at the mansion really early to just like hang out and see what kind of like things develop, and then they're up really late. After we all go to bed, I'm sure they're like working with each other and talking and figuring out like who they want to chat with next and who might be a good fit for a group date, and so they work really, really hard, and like I have a respect for those people. I don't know if I'd ever do another reality show again myself, because I'm like back at work now. It's like it's hard to have that transition where you like go leave for a month and you have this hangover effect when you come back, and when I came back, I just like kind of wanted to like talk about the show with the other cast members, and I'm like trying to be at work. And so like I had this like solid month or 6 weeks where I was just like super ineffective at both. And so what I should have done was just like taken off a few more weeks and just like travel and see the other cast members, and like get back to like learning how to type on my phone again. Like, forget what it's like to like have a phone in a pocket. And so
Okay, we have one more. Has your dating life changed? This comes from Cheryl. Has your dating life changed since the show? If so, for better or worse?
Has my dating life changed since the show? We were talking about this a little bit.
We sort of,
on the podcast. Like in short, maybe I'll say the biggest thing is that I like definitely learned a bunch more about how to not give a fuck what other people think.
Zero
Sorry
fucks.
if I'm not allowed to swear, but yeah, zero fucks is like a totally great place to be in, because like I felt like I was those Blue Angels. I'll talk louder.
Yeah.
It's Blue
But-
Angels.
It's flea break. They are loud. But yeah, but a big thing was I just wanted to make sure that now I'm like very honest about what I want and what I feel about certain things. So if someone doesn't jive with that, like at least they know everything up front and they can like peace out. But I was never good about expressing what I wanted or how I felt, and that made dating harder because I couldn't really connect with somebody because I felt like I wasn't able to say what I needed or what I wanted. And now I'm much more open about that. I'm like pretty open book about it now.
Awesome. And if you guys want to hear more, we just did a whole podcast with John.
Listen to
so
it.
We sure did. We talked about so many themes. We talked about what it was like growing up as a chubby half Asian kid. What the whole casting process was like of getting on the show, how long it took. So if you're curious about that, we got into detail about that. We also talked about life after the show, what John's looking for right now, what he's ready for. I won't reveal too much, but he is single, so I can at least say that. And I guess final question is, if they came back and said, we want you to be the next Bachelor, would you do it?
I'd definitely consider it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have
All
to
right.
sort of see where the timing is. That would be next year around this time, almost a full year from now. So I'd have to see where my life is at by then. But who knows, maybe I'll be with a partner by then and I won't want to, so.
Sweet.
guess
Okay.
we'll find out.
I guess we'll find out. There's going to be a follow-up episode to all of this. Any other last comments or thoughts, feedback from the
Actually,
audience?
a question. You seem to spend a lot of time drinking in Bachelor in Paradise anyway. Is that what most of the day is, hanging around by the pool, having some drinks?
Yeah, well, so he was asking, if you couldn't hear, the question was like, do you spend a lot of time drinking on the show? And yes, you can spend a lot of time drinking. You're limited to 2 drinks per hour though.
Okay.
And they heavily regulate that because they've had controversies in the past where
Yes.
like it might have been
see that.
drinking induced. And so now they're pretty careful about how much they let people how much they let people drink. So if you're someone like Clay Harbor, if you watched Becca's season, he's in the NFL. He's like huge. There's no way 2 drinks per hour is ever even gonna get buzzed. But for someone like me, who like I get drunk really fast and then I get sober really fast, and so I was like 2 drinks per hour, woo! I was like going up and so it definitely depends on the person.
Oh, I forgot one last question because my friend Kenny wanted to ask, what's your workout regimen for being so buff? How are you so buff?
I think honestly the trick is diet. So diet's probably the most important thing. But I do a solid mix. I probably spend a good amount like lifting, a good amount doing like heavy cardio, and then a good amount like the high intensity HIIT exercises. There's a lot of like burpees or rowing or whatever. So I mix it up. I also run a lot. In preparation for Paradise, my diet has never been more on point. Like, how often are you going to be like shirtless on TV for a month? Did not touch rice.
Oh, man.
Like I was basically meat and vegetables and working out a lot.
Okay, so just deprive yourself. That's how you get that buff. Okay.
Gotta do it for the gram.
Let's go for the
The John
gram.
gram.
Okay, well, thank you so much for doing this double header with us. We have the podcast episode coming out soon, so you guys watch out for that. And for doing this Facebook Live, we'll have this on our page for a while. So if you missed it, definitely watch it later. And if you have any more questions for John, let us know. Maybe we can filter them over to him and see if he answers them or not. Yeah? Promote your Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
Oh, I'm just John Graham 262.
Just John Graham.
Instagram. 262 is actually there's 26.2 miles in a marathon.
Oh.
And so when I got my Gmail,
I was
got my-
wondering what that was.
So 26.2, I was like running for me became like a big outlet for building confidence and getting in shape, and so I ran 2 marathons as a result, and I've kept the 262.
Oh.
Which marathons
Yeah.
have you run?
New York and Chicago.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Humble brag. Okay. We got to go. So good seeing you guys. So good seeing you. And we'll see you at our next Facebook Live.
Thank
Bye.
you, John. Bye.
Bye.